Okay, Rachel, give us a rundown or a vision of what you want to accomplish with your little project here.
Okay. So the gist of my idea is to go through your career season by season, and showing both sides of living the baseball life, from the athlete side and your typical workday, and then showing the side of the significant other, whether you're in the girlfriend boyfriend stage or married with children, like just both sides of it.
There's definitely a lot to unpack on both sides. It'll definitely be a unique perspective, you know, because it's definitely a fortunate, blessed life to be able to get to do that. But it's, I think, in many ways, especially on the minor league side, not as easy as a lot of people think it might be.
Yeah, like we have a unique perspective of what it means to be a professional athlete, and then, you know, just like I said, the other side of it.
Yeah. Okay. And then once we get through my career, I think you want to spend time talking about our life on the more of what we've learned on the coaching side, and then how we've kind of applied some of that stuff to being parents ourselves, and then also having a daughter who is a pretty good athlete.
She's kind of falling into that
Yeah.
potential to continue playing after high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into this,
Okay.
tell everybody what you currently do.
Currently, I am a nail tech.
Okay.
I do nails.
And you, just so people know this, you went to beauty school before we had children.
Yes.
You worked at a great salon in Portland, Oregon.
For 3 years.
For 3 years.
Ish.
And then once Christopher was born, which he's almost 23 now.
Yeah.
Once he was born, you went back to work briefly.
Yeah, when he was about 1.5 years, I went back to work. Yeah, for not long.
Yeah.
Not really that long.
And then from there you were
Stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, mom, and traveled with them all over the country, overseas. There would be some good stories with that.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Texas here about 5 years ago, and you started your own nail business. Are you 3 years in now? About 3 years?
Between 2.5 and 3,
Okay.
probably. Like earlier this year was, well, it's only April, but about 2.5 years in, I think.
Okay, now let's get
Maybe
to...
it has been 3.
Yeah, it's close.
I don't know, whatever.
Okay, now let's get to these questions. Okay, first
Okay.
one, give us a quick picture of your life, because you and I met, you were
After high school.
You were 19, I was 17, right? Because you're 2 years older than me.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
That debate.
So give us a picture of your life up to the point of we met, and you don't need to go into great detail, but just give everybody a little idea of what led you here a little bit.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Vancouver, Washington. I've got one older brother. I'm the baby. Lived in the same house my entire life. When I was really little, my aunt lived across the street. But I grew up with my grandma across the street until I was well into high school. After high school, before we met, I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I went to a community college, got a job at the bookstore there, one of my favorite jobs. And then you and I met while I was still attending classes and working at the bookstore. And that led into ending up leaving that school and that job and going to beauty school.
Yeah. Share real quick it's a unique story, your birth story.
Okay, so I was born at home, like at the house my parents were living in. That's when doctors made house calls. Mom had a totally unmedicated birth. My brother was there. A couple that was really good friends with my parents was also there, and they photographed the whole thing, like really good quality photographs. And I was in the newspaper because of that, I think. For some reason that there's like in my mind, I can see the newspaper, like the picture that was in the newspaper.
I don't think I've seen those photos or I knew about them. Does your mom have them somewhere?
Oh yeah, my parents have them. There's like slides. They made them into slides.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole presentation.
Oh, okay. I want to see that someday. Give us if you can think of one of your best memories from your childhood.
So it's not one particular menu because I've been thinking about this, but one of my favorite things about my childhood was that my grandma lived across the street from us. So she was like across the street, but a couple doors down, and it was like a second home. We would, even when I was really little and she was still working, if she wasn't home, we just got the hide key and went inside. And, you know, she had like, in my house, we had like healthy food, like wheat bread and no sugar cereal and no pop or anything. And at grandma's house, she had all the good stuff and the cable TV and the movie channels and all that stuff. So I just really loved, gosh, when did she moved up to Olympia, maybe just my freshman year, because I remember driving up there while I was still in high school to like go visit her. But it was just such a, she had this really amazing gazebo in her backyard, and we had like family, you know, gatherings back there. And it was just, I just loved everything about that. Like now as an adult reflecting back, I loved that my grandma was across the street and I grew up being able to be so close to her. My dad's mom.
Okay, tell us what you did for fun back there. Remember, this was pre-cell phones, pre-internet. Even if you wanted to get in touch with someone, you had to call over a landline phone.
Or to go to their front door and knock on the door.
Yes.
Yeah. We played outside. That's what we did. There wasn't even, cable TV way back then. So really sitting around watching TV, there was nothing even on TV. If it wasn't Saturday morning cartoons, you just played outside. You rode bikes, you climbed trees, you played tag, you went over to the park or like, you know, a school with a playground, or, if you were at your friend's house inside or whatever, playing games, like really you just, you just found stuff to do.
Okay. Did you play any sports growing up?
I did. I played t-ball. I played soccer briefly. I did gymnastics briefly. My parents did like put me in stuff to try stuff out. And then finally once like junior high, you know, you could do sports at school. I did basketball for at least one of the years in junior high. And then when I got to high school, I did volleyball. Very mid-athlete, like athletic enough to make the team, you know, but nobody was recruiting me for anything. Just typical average, you know, kid athlete.
Stayed busy.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting to you and I, we went to high school together.
Yep. But we didn't know each other in high school.
You graduated in 1995. I graduated in 96. But you're still 2 years older than me.
Not really. Year and a half.
Do you remember me from high school?
Vaguely. I do remember seeing you in the hallway one time. And maybe because you were like newer to school, like people were talking about you. You were taller than a lot of people, so you kind of, visually like stood out. But we never directly crossed paths, spoke. We have so many mutual friends. It's wild how we never met in the 3 years of being at the same school. We never met.
Everything,
it wasn't meant to be back then, really.
Everything happens how it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
And when. Okay, now your version of how we met.
Okay. We were at a party. I went to this party with some girlfriends, and it was your first off season back. So having already graduated before you, I didn't know anything about you. Didn't know who you were, didn't know anything. But I do remember being there in my friend's car with her, and you pulled up, and you had been able to buy yourself a brand new car. So everybody was kind of talking about that.
Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah, 98.
It was gray-ish.
Ish. And then at some point in the night, there was just like I said, it was your first off-season home. People were talking about you, and which I think I just got this like wild hair and went up to our friend of ours and was like, hey, go tell him to come talk to me. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I probably didn't ask about you because I don't know. I just said, hey, go tell him to come talk to me.
So you claim that was the first move?
It was the first move.
Okay.
It was. Otherwise, I don't really know if you would have come over and talked to me.
Yeah.
And then, I can like see it. I was on a sofa. There was an open space next to me, and you came over and sat down. We started talking. Like that was it.
It took a lot of courage on my side.
I know.
You had the easy part. You went and just asked a friend to come talk to me.
That's because I couldn't come and talk to you.
I was 17-year-olds and girls scared me. For me to go and sit down next to you and talk to you, I was the courageous one. I made the first move.
But I don't think I disagree.
Okay.
If it would have been the other way around and somebody would have come over to me and said, hey, this guy, he thinks you're cute. He wants you to come talk to him. That maybe would have like helped me muster up the courage to come and talk to you, but that's not.
And if you would have come talk to me, who would have made the first move?
You would have.
Okay.
I would probably claim I did, but
yeah.
Okay. Anyways, then we started talking, and that's that's that.
Okay. Before we switch sides here, I have a couple things that I could share on this, but give us something unique about you that people most likely don't know and probably would never know.
Like about my personality?
Just maybe about that, or an experience, or a gift that you have, or...
If you ever see me driving alone in the car, there's a good chance I'm blasting music and singing at the top of my lungs.
Really?
Yep.
Even still?
Yes.
Oh.
100% still.
Okay. You just don't do it when I'm in the car?
No.
Okay. So a couple things for me is, one, you are a great cook.
Oh, okay.
I
do like cooking.
I know that when we first met that you didn't have a lot of experience, but
I could make a mean spaghetti.
You can, you can make some really great dishes, and your kids would agree with that.
Okay.
You also somehow have a green thumb when...
It's Texas. It's not me.
I don't know, but
It's
you used to say that you would kill everything,
I
and
did.
now we have plants all over the house.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it for me?
That's it. Your turn. Your
Okay.
turn to ask questions.
Okay, well, why don't you give us a brief first 18 years?
Okay. So I was born in Tacoma, Washington. My father was stationed there for the Army. A couple years after I was born, he got moved to Nuremberg, Germany, and we spent a couple years there. My sister was born there. I have one sibling. She's like I said, a couple years younger than me. From there, a couple years after that, we moved to California, and I grew up in a city called Concord in California. It's in the Bay Area. We lived there until 91. I think that's what we decided it was, 91-ish. Moved up to Washington State, to Vancouver to be specific, which just make sure people understand it's not Vancouver, Canada. It's Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah.
A reason why when people ask where we were from, we would always claim Portland, because
Yeah.
people would, the moment we said
Or just
Vancouver,
Oregon.
yeah, the moment we said Vancouver, they would think it was Canada.
Or if we said Washington, they would think DC.
True, very true. So Vancouver, Washington, went there
Between your eighth
for my
and...
high school life.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we met just after high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So why don't you think back and give us a certain childhood memory that sticks out, or something about your childhood that you
So most of my childhood memories, I don't remember a lot, but most of my childhood memories revolve around sports for obvious reasons. It was pretty much what I did, and my dad was a huge part of my youth sports life. Back then there was no, like what I do, there was no private instruction, there were no indoor training facilities, there was outdoors, there was the fields and your parents. And my dad was a huge part for me, and no matter what the sport was, whatever that time of year was, he would spend a lot of his time after work and on the weekends doing things to practice with me. Oddly, one of my most clearest memories was in 1988, going way back in the 80s.
Oh, you remember the exact year, huh?
Well, I remember the year because it was because of what happened. So there was that earthquake
Okay.
in the Bay Area, which for anybody that's a baseball fan, you remember that A's Giants World Series that got interrupted because of this. But my dad and I, at that moment, we were in the backyard playing catch. And I remember hearing, so our house backed up to a freeway, which also backed up to like some empty lots. And there was a chain link fence back there behind our fence. And I remember hearing something back there, almost like there was something in the bushes, or like the fence was rattling, something was happening. And then all of a sudden we were literally standing there, but it was like our bodies were moving. Like, it was a pretty significant
Wow, so you guys
earthquake.
could feel it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like like you're standing still, but it's almost like you're dancing. Like everything was shaking. It's a really weird experience, and I don't want to say traumatic, but something. It was a big enough,
Impactful.
a big enough event, impactful that I remember details that from that long ago. I don't really remember a lot.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's a running joke.
Yeah,
with-
it's just my memory. Mom
you.
and Dad love to tease me about that I just don't remember anything from back then. But I think it's because, our life has been so special and interesting since then that I just don't remember a lot from those years.
I think when something like is normal, I think memories do tend to like fade and get a little fuzzy. Like growing up, like my dad has played music my entire life, his entire life, so my entire life. So it was normal for me to like see him on stage performing or hear him playing or messing with like a melody or a riff on the guitar or something. That was just normal to me. And so when I was younger, I probably just didn't think anything of it. But, of course, looking back, like, he's so extremely talented. Like, it was really special to grow up, witnessing someone being able to do like what they love, what they're passionate about, which is kind of what you get to do too.
That leads to another fun fact about you.
Oh.
Is that any song on the radio, almost any song, no matter the era, you will know who sung it, who the band was. Sometimes
Not popular current stuff.
Okay, old school stuff, but sometimes you will even know who the backup singers are or who's on the guitar, who's on the drums.
Because they're probably not drummers, but because it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me.
Fun fact. You're special.
But I'm telling you,
unique.
if we're ever in a musical trivia game,
I win because you're on my team.
You're gonna want me
I don't
on
have
your
to say a word.
team.
I don't have to say a word. We will win because of you.
I'm not good if I'm put on the spot, though. I will say that.
Whatever.
If you're like,
I don't believe it. You would.
okay.
You would hear it. You would know the song.
My brother's the same. It's
with
just
hearing like 3 seconds of the song, you would know it probably.
it's like internal trivia with myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think something people don't know about you is that you can be quite passionate about something.
Okay.
And although you aren't like the loud, gregarious type passionate, like you just, like I feel like someone could describe you as passionate about having players call their own pitches. You're passionate about that.
I am very. Anybody that knows me and the families I worked with for the last 15 years, and for anybody that follows us on Baseball Dude social media, they know how I feel about that topic.
But when
it's crazy how passionately people feel on both sides.
Yeah.
Like there are people that feel like no pitcher or catcher should ever call their pitches. Like it's too much to handle.
But you're so just even keeled all the time, emotionally and like energetically. You're so not flatlined, but you're just even. You don't have big hills and valleys of your emotions or energy or anything. But you can be quite passionate about.
Yeah, I think the
I'd
game,
start getting like stress sweats.
I think the game and just being an athlete, it almost forced me to.
Right.
I think I've always been a little bit more mellow, calm. My dad raised me to be humble and to let other people talk about you and your success. Don't do it for yourself, and so like never bring attention. He taught me to let your make sure your opponents never know how you feel. Mm-hmm. Your opponents can't know if you're rattled. Your opponents can't know if you are feel great about things. Like for you to stay calm in your mind, body language wise, you need to be under control.
Yeah.
That's just how I was raised. Not everybody's raised that way, and not saying that it is right or wrong, but that's just how how dad brought me up. That's right or wrong. It is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so back to our interview. What is your earliest memory, I guess, of me? Or in high school, do you remember me in high school?
So I definitely remember seeing you in the hallways. Again, we never spoke. I remember I can picture I can picture you in the hallway hanging with your buddies, your girlfriends, your guy friends that you had.
My squad.
Your squad. And I know that you claim innocence on this, but your little white CRX zooming around the student parking lot. I thought they were white rims. I now am told they were black rims, and that you had white
windshield wiper flaps. I don't even know what you call them. The car came like that. Like I didn't add anything to this car.
And you would zoom up and down those aisleways. I don't know how you didn't hurt somebody. But those are my memories of you.
Okay.
I mean, it was a unique car. It was the only.
I didn't even have that car when we met, so it's wild that you.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you actually remember it being mine, or after,
No,
after discovering that was my car, then did you like connect it that like, oh, I remember seeing that car?
No, I remember seeing you driving it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could barely see over the steering wheel.
Stop. That's false. That's absolutely false. That's absolutely false. Okay, so we didn't know each other in high school. We met after you had graduated. Tell us your version of how we met and who made the first move.
Okay, so our mutual friend who you discussed earlier, our mutual friend was throwing himself a going away party.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yep, he was going off to
I
college.
probably didn't even know that at the time.
Yep, so he was throwing himself a party.
Again, this is back when there was no social media or Facebook, or word just spread, and then you had to like find out where it was, and somehow, I don't know, you people just showed up.
Yeah, January 3rd, 1997
Yeah.
was the evening that we met.
The day before your 18th birthday.
Yep, that was this party.
So you were still 17.
Yeah.
So you were younger. You were one of the younger kids in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are like, they hold their boys back sometimes so they can be like older for like sports stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one of the older in my grade,
Yeah.
like Brooke is, and
Yeah.
you were one of the younger. Oh, so is Zachary. He's one of the younger in his grade. Anyways, even though he's not in school.
So you went over and asked him to come tell me that you wanted to talk to me, or that you, vice versa, either way, whatever. You wanted to talk. So I, at some point, went and sat down on the sofa next to you and asked you, what have you been up to? Mm-hmm. That's what you said I asked you.
Yeah.
I don't remember this, but that's what you...
Just what have you been doing?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. And it kind of went from there, and I don't remember how that conversation went. I'm pretty sure I blacked
I don't
out.
either.
Because I was talking to a girl.
Pre-cell phone, pre-everything.
Yeah. And then I don't remember how the evening ended. I do remember seeing you in a car with at least two of your girlfriends. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you guys were leaving the party. And
I
was
remember
leaving
who
at
I
the
was
same
with and who was
time.
driving. It wasn't me. So
It was Ariana.
Mm-hmm. It was her car.
And who else?
I'm pretty sure Stephanie
Okay.
was with us.
Okay.
And I think Michelle was with us.
Okay. So that's my memory of that evening. Not a lot, again.
Yeah.
Not a lot of memories, but that was the night we met.
Yeah.
Kids, that's how I met your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, someday our kids, when they're older, they'll watch these and look how young they were. Mm-hmm. You're almost 50.
So our version of the story is the same.
Yeah.
It's just the technicality of who made the first move.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically you did by going up to the friend, but I made the first courageous move.
That took courage for me to go talk to him.
No.
I mean, he and I, we weren't besties, so it was like we knew each other, we were friendly, but we never like hung out together. So it was kind of nerve-wracking for me to go up to him and be like, "Hey, Justin, go tell him."
I don't think that's even close to
No, it's
the
not.
nerves,
It's
the
not
nerves
close.
on my side.
But I was so nervous that I could not come talk to you. Plus, I'm old-fashioned that way. Like, I want you to make the first move, but I'm definitely not above going around and having someone tell you to come make the first move.
I will admit, if you didn't do that, I probably would have not have,
Right.
just because of how much of a chicken I was.
It's scary. It's,
It is. Girls are scary.
well, it's just going up to someone you don't know and striking up a conversation with them.
Yeah, it would
Can
be a
be
lot
nerve-wracking.
easier to do now, but yeah, back
Well, of
then it
course.
was. Yeah, I wasn't. I was very introverted in high school. I didn't have. I mean, I had my little group of friends, but I didn't really go outside of that.
I didn't have a huge group of friends either. I had my like core group, and then the outer, like the layers that people that you have class with or you're friendly with, or there's some kind of connection, but like I did not have a huge group of friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, well, I know that this whole podcast idea was your idea, and I know that it took me a little bit to warm up to it, just a little bit. But I think
just figuring out how we were going to fit it into our days,
Yeah.
like schedule wise.
Yeah.
How much time was it going to take to do? Figuring that kind of stuff out.
Yeah, but
I
I think it will be good. I think there will be a lot of useful things that we talk about that can help parents of athletes, parents in general, hopefully coaches.
Just even being relatable.
Yeah.
Like if maybe somebody right now, their son is potentially thinking about going on to play baseball afterwards, like hearing about what our experiences were like, and especially yours as being the player, what that entails. Like you're not signed to a big money contract and, living the high life out of the gate. Like, I don't know how it is now currently, like for people that were just drafted last year are going to be drafted this year, because I know things are different, but it is not a glamorous life.
Yeah. I think it would also be helpful, right now at this moment, today is April 8th, 2026. Who knows how long we're going to record these for. But right now in this moment, for those that don't know, our daughter Brooke, she is a junior in high school. So she is in the middle of the recruiting process.
For volleyball.
Yep. And it is very different than what it was like back in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be whenever we get to that podcast and that topic, that will be an interesting, enlightening one. Hopefully folks that are listening to it can learn and be prepared for, if they have kids that are either at that point or maybe someday will be there. It's a deep topic. There's so much to it compared to what it used to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.